Hey, if you're in my class, post something in the comments just so I know you're watching, so I know that you're here. If you have any questions, just write them in there as well. So, if you're watching this, what we'll be working on today is creating a 3D vector object in Illustrator. You can also do this in Photoshop. Very similar uh, instructions. Just make sure you're using similar tools. It might be a different program. That's totally fine. Uh, just so you get the idea. So the things we'll be using today: pen tool, direct uh, selection tool, gradients, and color matching. So using the eyedropper tool to match the colors on the pictures. So first off, you want to find a picture that you're using. Probably most of you already picked one. So this is the one I picked. Also with this, I've realized there's things in the background I wanted to make as well. So Woody here and Miss Potato Head and the blocks. That's what I did before this. I went on to Google, found some high-res photos, try to find ones that are maybe from the scene or ones that other people have maybe already made. So you can sort of get the tonal range. So there's like a lighter spot where the sun hits it, as well as the shadows, and on multiple pieces you can create a glare to make those objects feel more 3D. Same thing here. Found a couple different ones just to see good examples and areas that you can sort of zoom in and so you can get the tones of different lines. So better quality, higher quality photos will work better for you. Um, so hopefully you guys have those. Let me just double check to see if we are live here. One second. If you are watching, please post something in the comments just so I know uh, that it is working. Oh, okay. So it looks like we are fine. So it looks like we are. Okay. Alright, so again, if you're watching, just post something in the comments so I know that you are in there. If you have any questions, so on and so forth, it helps if you put your name so I know who to address them to. So today what we're going to be doing again, we'll be creating this woody template design into a 3D vector. So first thing you want to do is try to break them down into smaller shapes. So what I'm going to do here, I'll work with like the face and probably the body, and then once I make the pieces, I'm going to drag them over to the right side, and then allow for me to do any of the changes, and then start doing the color matching as well. So I'll do piece by piece. So if people jump in, it makes it a little bit easier. All right. So there might not be a lot of talking, just probably just working. But if you have questions, please post something. So first thing I'm going to use is the pen tool. Zoom in on your character so it makes it a little bit easier for you. And keep in mind, so some of the parts are like behind each other, so it doesn't really mean they have to be perfect the first time. So I'm just going to go do like a rough cut here, rough design. And then if your object is being covered up with a color here, make sure you notice that here on the left side there's an infill and the outline color. Right now the infill is solid white, so I'll make it clear so I can see. I'll make this a brighter color so you can see the line I'm working on. There we go. So I'll keep going. So I'm going to go over his hair because I'm going to eventually just cut it out or cover it up with another piece. And so again, making a line over his head, even though it doesn't really matter, because I will eventually be covering up with the hat. So we have a face right here. So I'll make it. So that was the hair piece. And again, it's going to be covered up by the hat, so it doesn't really matter. The top doesn't really matter that much. Now, what I would be doing now is trying to line these up together. Probably something like that. What I'll do is I'll bring one of these pictures down at his head. So right now his head's tilted, so let me flip this. So transform, reflect, preview so I can see, that's right. So the head's sort of tilting the same way. So to start off, I'm going to get some colors. So by doing that, I'm just making a couple circles here. So make the circle, eyedropper tool, get some different tones, so make another circle here. So a couple more here. So make a couple different tones. So it's like sort of like a little middle gray there, or middle red for his cheeks. See like the peak of the cheek. Again, using eye on the keyboard will select the eyedropper tool a little bit faster for if you're using Photoshop or Illustrator. So find like a shadow color like that. Now pick some hair. those two are probably pretty good. So now I'm going to add these colors in. Go up to the swatches here. You have the color already selected for you, the one that you made with the eyedropper tool, and you go down to the bent piece of paper, make a new swatch. I'm going to call this light skin, or skin light, make it a little easier. So this is my middle tone, same thing, up, new swatch, middle, okay. Same thing, make a new color, skin, like rose, rosy cheeks. Same again, this is skin dark. Okay, now this is light hair, so new layer, hair light. Hair dark. Okay. All right. So once we got something started here, we're gonna go click on the face. We'll give it the light tone first, and the hair we'll give those just filler colors at this moment. Take these bright whites off. We can make them black if we want them to be more of a stencil, or just make them transparent. So we'll just keep working here. Again, back to the pen tool. There we go. So one eyebrow. Work on the second one. And again, when you're using the pen tool, if you just click, it'll make a straight line. But if you hold it down, you can get those curved angles with the anchor points. So that's what we'll be using to make that a little bit easier to get those curved eyebrows. So, so for these eyes, I'll just use the pen tool. You could use the circle tool, but it's a little bit easier just with the pen, just so I can follow along. So I'm going to find like the 4 areas to make like a perfect circle. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. So hopefully if you make the curve on the first one, the second one should be a click, then a curve, and then a click here to make a perfect circle. There we go. This other one. So using the white out here to clean up some of the edges that I messed up on, but it's not too bad. It's a little bit, I have a little bit of a point, but there we go. So then I'm going to clean this up with the white arrow tool, make sure they don't overlap the pieces. So the looks like some eyes. Now this one sort of has a cut out of it, and so I'm going to just use a circle. If you hold shift, it'll make a perfect circle. That'll be black typically. So do black. I'll just copy that. Paste. Nope. Copy. Paste. Like that. But what I'm going to use is use the eraser here. Make it smaller, so you can make it smaller with the brackets on the keyboard. So it's highlighted, so I'm only going to be clearing that one. There we go. Along those lines. Use white. So look like they're a brown, not a black, dark brown. So clean those up. So we're coming together. Let's see here the eyebrows. So we're gonna go match his eyebrow colors, so that light hair. So we'll just make some of these accent pieces to then start get some of the tones. And so I'm just using the pen tool here, but it's going to just be a solid design, not a solid design, just going to be the line part like this. So I'm going to take off the infill. So it's just the line. Click away with the white arrow. You go back to the pen tool. Same thing. Just to get those lines to at least help you figure out where the color should be. So let's bring those over. Something like that. So looking at the two pieces here, I'm gonna start to like try to figure out this color. So it's like sort of you're gonna need a little bit of an idea. So I'm gonna just trace this. Sort of going around the cheek here and follow the lightest part of the nose. So I will bring them over now. Oop. Might need to be touched up just because it's a different face, but at least give me the right direction. So I'm going to give this the same color as the lightest face. But now I'm going to bring this into my gradients, blend. So when you make all those colors, it helps because then they're all in your gradient options here. So I'll choose the lightest skin tone and the middle one and the dark one, because you can sort of see that in the, so it's like lightest, so rose color here, and it sort of fades to dark. So we'll try those three. It'll take some time just figuring out which one works the best. So we're going to zoom in. Make this smaller now so it fits. It feels more like it fits. So touching it up. I'm going to make this a little bit transparent just so I can see it while I'm working on it. There we go. So this point down here is too sharp, so I'm going to clean that up with a convert anchor point. Make this more of a bend. Now go back with the white arrow tool. Sort of getting the direction there. So we still have the gradient. We can touch it up whatever directions we want. We can try different directions. So if you're using the gradient on the left side, you can get a different direction or feel. So let's go this way. Make the darker spot like more transparent. So we have the dark one at 40. We'll make this so it's still like a blemish, but not overpowering. So going back and forth just to sort of test, trying to get this blend back here so it's a little bit more smooth. See how that looks. Start to get a tone. So let's make these lines black so I could sort of see what design we're making. So I'm going to send that backward so the lines are on top. There we go. But these are a little dark for what we're trying to work on. They stand out a lot, so I want to make them not uniform. So like fade them in and out. These like sort of like look like they're drawing lines. Maybe we could turn the opacity down even if we wanted. But these look, I think, better. Just getting like a subtle nose color there, because we'll probably have another color come on this side of the face, so this won't be too bad. We'll bring these eyes in front, do both, make them set. So we want to keep them together all the time, so we want to keep clicking on them. So Shift Command G, and then we're going to Object Arrange, bring front. So we'll do the same thing with this ear line. So make it black, transparent. I won't even make it thinner. It's really subtle. Make these thinner. There we go. So this looks a little crooked. Let me go in here and clean this up. It's a little bit better. So we can add design lines to these, just to feel uniform. See how we're doing. They don't have to be uniform. And again, if you're just signing in, make sure to write something in the comments just so I know, so I'm able to talk or if you have any questions. So we'll just keep going here. So we'll work on the lips here, design those. So even though it messes up there, just go in with the white arrow tool. So I know this line has to be matching the rest of the mouth. Just drag it down. Like that, and so these are the teeth. Here's the tongue. So again, if you signed in, just write something in the comments just so I know. So if you have any questions. So right now I'm just working on the design, so pen tooling. So now I'm trying to match the face or the mouth. So trying to clean this up, so I'm using the white arrow tool. So I can't really see it that well, so I'm going to make it a little transparent for the time being. There we go. If you can hear me, post something in the comments just so I know. So we'll just move these over, and I'll group them together so we can keep them as a piece. Try and match up visually where that line sort of falls in there. So we'll click on the teeth. Hey Molly, thanks for writing, just so it makes it a little bit easier. I know if someone's actually using it. Do you have any questions on the project so far? If you do, you can write them in the comments there, and I'll try to answer them. Or if I can't answer them right now, I'll write you an email at the end. So let's see. There's not one with Woody's tongue. So let's give it a reddish color. Go with this red here. So we're going to give them outline colors. Make them half, just so they're not overpowering. So what if you the parts that we talked about so far, we made a little bit of a gradient here on the nose, and using colors that we created, and the colors we created were by making shapes and then color matching different parts of Woody's face and hair colors, and then we went to swatches, making new ones here so they could see the colors that we made so far. And then pen tooling all the pieces individually, and then eventually we'll be using multiple source materials these other woody characters, Miss Potato Head, and these wood blocks. So hopefully that sort of helps you with yours. So we'll try to make some more pieces here. So I'm going to use this idea that's on the black and white drawing, as well as the one that's here, this smirk. Try to make like this like dimple shape. So we'll do a radial design, not linear because it's a circle. This is going to be the darkest spot. So that'll be like the inner part of the cheek. These will be the lightest. And then we'll use the left side gradient here to get that dimension. Do something like that. A little bit bright. So we'll try this, and then overall we can make that. Make that transparent too. Let's make that dimple design. Make this smaller. So holding down shift while using the mouse. It's still a little dark. So if you're just joining us, leave a comment in the post so I could see who's here. Also, so it makes it a little bit easier trying to do the demo. If you have questions, post them there as well. So right now working on this like cheekbone design. So we have the dimple, and what we're going to do is so we make this design, but we don't want it to be radial anymore because this is like sort of like the darkest tone, rosy color. There's like a highlight, and then the skin tone. So we're gonna blend those all in a linear design, going left to right, or right to left. Sorry. So again, these are the colors that we made from before. So you can see the ones I labeled. So here's like the rose. So I'm going to use the gradient on the right side here in Photo or in Illustrator, but also using gradient on the left side on this to make the direction. So this is the lightest direction, so I want that to be here. So I want to try to match this. I'm going to take a couple goes to get the right sort of pattern. So again, I have like some transparencies on my colors just so they sort of blend a little bit smoother. So we got something. Let's see how this looks. So it's a little stark, a little bright. Let's make it a little transparent. Going back to the gradient, make sure these colors are not too bright. Not too bad. We'll take this one off that we made, this like dimple. So I'll work on this this hair, and then what I'm going to do is make a copy of this. So where it would overlay. So there's two on top of each other right now. I'm going to make this one drastically different so you know. I'm going to go and give that a gradient. So I have like the dark and light hair. Make it linear. So you can see here the hair sort of has a gradient already. We'll try this. See how that looks. Next we'll make this hat so hopefully it starts to like feel like it's behind it. So again, pen tool. I'm going to draw right through his hand just because I will make a piece that'll go over it, so it doesn't really matter. And if it's covering it up, so make sure the fill color is a transparent color. I will go back and make the pieces individually, so making the general shapes right now does not matter, or just making the general shapes right now. That's what you should be doing. Like this. Sort of looks like this. So we'll make another shape. So eyedropper tool, so it's over here on the left, or you can use I on the keyboard. Pick the colors that you need. So that's the hat, it's the light color, hat that's like middle tone, and hat that's the dark tone. So I'm going to click on those, go to swatches, bent piece of paper, says new swatch. This is the color it's already made for me. I'll have to try to match it up. I'm going to give it a color, so it's going to be hat light, or give it a name, hat light. Same thing here. Hat middle. Same thing. Hat dark. If there's anything you want me to like specifically work on, you can write that in the comments or in the chat, so I know what you want me to specifically do. If you just want to watch, that's totally fine too. Just let me know. So here's the hat color. Match that up. At least it's starting to sort of come together a little bit. So now let's work on the inner working pieces of the hat. So there's a little bit of a curve here. I'm going to clean that up. Trying to get this section of the hat, this section that has light with this part of the hat. So that's why. Right now it already is that color, but I'm going to give it a like an outline just so I can see it so it stands out. It's pretty close. But we'll just keep making some of these pieces so you can see where it lies. So this is like the little belt piece that goes around the hat. So I think that's the darker color. It's hard to tell there, but it's like maybe a middle at least. And match these up, make it a little transparent so I can see a little bit easier. White arrow tool to clean up the edges. Just make sure we're using the right pieces here. So I'll make that the darkest, the top part of the hat. If you don't have anything to like write about right now, or any questions right now, what you could do is just write a comment or a post that says in the chat that says what you're working on. At least I can see who's here, and then maybe you guys can get. If you have any questions, you guys can sort of I can address those. So this top part of the hat is above, so I want to move it backwards. So I'm going to click on this tan side, this tan strap, and the line I designed. I'm going to move them forward, object, arrange, bring front. So this color does not, this piece does not have an inside color. Let's do that. And I'm making the outline color like thin so it doesn't stand out too much. It's not really overpowering. So that's why I'm going with the half. You can go 25. You can go with nothing if it needs it. I feel like to make it look 3D, I try to get rid of those entirely, any outline colors, just so if something's supposed to blend transparently, sort of feels like it should. Sort of coming together. So next I'll be working on the hand here and part of the brim of the hat with this twist and make this feel like a different color. So let's go with that. Let's make this part of the hat, this brim. So it's underneath this finger here. something like this. This is going to be a different color because this is like the part that's closest to you versus this part that's away from you. So let's bring that over. So we can see what we're looking at. Try to match up the ones that we already made. So going in with the white arrow, clean up these edges. So we sort of have this like the front part of the hat. So we'll bring it back to the normal color that the hat was. Is this, or one less than that. This one. I'm gonna double click on it. I'm gonna make it slightly lighter. But make it full transparency. So there's a couple different tones there, so it feels a little bit more like a front. This is the front. There's like a little bit of a divot here, different color. The band's different than these top two pieces, and the farthest part is the top. But we'll make a little gradient here in this little section to make it feel like it's like dipped in as well. So pen tool. So I zoom in on the areas that I want to make the shape just to make it a little bit easier myself. You should be trying to do this so you can get as close as possible without having to like make a really jagged shape. So I have my shape that I want to use here. I'm going to go into gradients. I'm going to choose the lightest hat color, which is here, and the darkest hat color. And we'll use the gradient on the left side here to make the direction. doing that. Object, arrange, send it back. Arrange, send backward. We'll give these both outline colors so they sort of match. Try to match this up. So sort of trying to make that fade a little bit. You can do this on multiple pieces. Like I probably, when I get to more of this time, I'll probably do one like here where they make this like sort of fade. So this is the darker side of the hat, so fade it this way. Same thing here. You can make this the lightest, fade to a darker, so it's like sort of creating a transition. Same thing with this band. This is the lightest side, like the sun's hitting the side. So we're gonna pen tool the hand now. And again, you can draw through the object just because you're going to be going back and adding the details later, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But if it's covering up your design, make sure the fill color is transparent. So we got our hands here. Just to see what we got. So parts of the hand are going to be behind this hat, so we can erase them, or we just make a copy and move that part of the hat forward. Either one works. So let's go and make the details for the hand. So all these lines that are in like the knuckles and making all the individual fingers, those are going to be done with the pen tool. But instead of making a full object, I'm just going to not make a full circle or shape. I'm just going to leave those lines open, so it makes it the easiest for our purposes. And again, when you're holding down the line, the pen tool, it creates the curved edges on the anchor points. So once you make a shape, instead of going to the next one, you have to click away with like the black arrow or the white arrow, so you're not joining them together, because each of them should be their own piece, so you can give them their own specific designs, or if you have to go back and edit them for some reason. And so here would be like, this is the finger that we went around, we have to join these together. So this part of the finger, like the little curve underneath, we need this part here, like where the palm is on Woody, all the kind of details we need. So we should have all the pieces we need now. So we're gonna bring them over to put on our hand. Give them black. We'll make them like fade, so we'll go like thin to thick, or some of them we'll vary them, and so we'll make them all the same width. So we'll zoom in here so we can see what we're looking at. So this is the bend in like the knuckle. So we got some edits we gotta make here, so we're gonna use this. So we're gonna clean these up. Try to measure them as best as possible, so you don't want them like, before this piece was like this. You want to make sure you clean up all those edits. Try to line them up. It's going to try to give you the guides. Please use those. They're going to be very helpful. So like here, you can tell that that's off. Just makes makes it a more convincing design. So clean this up. So we sort of got a hand here. Sort of looks pretty good. So I know this is the design for where the hand should be behind. Pretty sure. Let's see. We might need to move it up a little because there's no gap between these two pieces. So I'm going to actually join all these lines that we made. So I'm going to join all these lines we made. Just in case we ever need to move them, it makes it a little bit easier if they're all grouped together. So if you're in Photoshop or Illustrator, Command G is that one. Shift Command G, sorry. No, Command G. And then I'm going to group the whole hand with those. So now they're all one object. Move them up a little bit higher. So this part of the thumb I need to erase. So I'm going to use the eraser here. So it sort of looks like the thumb is behind now. Hi, Fran. Yeah, so if you have questions, again, post anything in the chat. I can sort of see that. So makes it a little bit easier for me. If you want, you just post like what you're working on for the project. That makes it a little bit helpful. If there's something specific you want me to work on or address, that's fine. So let's see here. So let's try and make the hand look a little bit more 3D. So my suggestion would be like this side of the hand or this part of the palm would be a different color. And again, between the knuckles here, like this should be different colors. So let's make a copy of the hand. And we'll just go like this probably. Since we don't need the top of the hand first. This part. We'll go to gradient on the right side. Give it the lightest color, and then it's like the middle skin tone. So this is pretty good. Like it's a pretty good transition, but we want it to be the opposite direction. So when we go to use the gradient tool on the left side, we're gonna go to flip this like this. Give it a couple of goes here. That's not bad. Turn off the outline color. And then if we use the eraser here, we can sort of see through this. That works. Or what you could do is select just the line tools that we made since they already grouped together. Go Object, Arrange, bring to front. We have to ungroup them from everything, so Shift-Command G. Bring just the line tool pieces up. Arrange, bring to front. Now the hand looks sort of like it's like underneath. So that's not bad. We'll do the same thing with this finger. So I'm going to make this shape here. Give it that color, make it transparent on the outside. Sorry. Go back to the gradient. When we go to make the gradient color, we'll do this way. So we're starting to get a different feel for the the dimensions here, you can start to see that it's starting to become more three-dimensional. So this is the one we have so far. Probably go back and work on this cheek one here. There's one on the nose. But pen tool, there's one on the hat. Thanks, friend. So what do you mean by take it from somewhere else and take it apart? Like the idea is to try to build it yourself, because then you could sort of design all the 3D pieces to it, and you add the textures, and like sort of the possibility to make it look three-dimensional. So if you can describe what you mean by taking it from somewhere else, let me know what you mean. Hi, Diana. If there's anybody else here, you can write in the comments so we can sort of have like a little bit of a discussion rather than just like staring at me. All right. So let us try. So I'll come back to this, maybe the hand, but we'll try a different piece now. We'll go with the arm here. So again, using the pen tool, keep in mind you can draw through the pieces. So we'll work with the sort of the cuff here. Here's the arm. So these are the pieces that we'll be using next. So what we'll be doing here, we'll be making all these colors again. So these are going to be for the arm. So let's go make some circles. So I make a shape, Command I, or sorry, not Command I on the keyboard, or eyedropper tool over here to match the color. So I'm going to choose like the yellow part of his sleeve for his outfit. So that's good. Copy and paste. Now it's a little bit darker tone. Just be like a lighter one. Get a couple different variations. And then this will be like a stripe on the shirts. So what I'm going to do now is, with the colors that we made, we'll go into the little swatches, bent piece of paper here. So it's going to be called shirt light. Okay. Bent piece of paper. Shirt middle. Shirt dark. Shirt stripe. So those will be the colors we'll be using when we're making the pieces. so it makes it a little bit easier for us instead of having to go back every time eyedropper tool, or if you wanted to use the gradient, it'll automatically show up in the gradient because you made those colors. So, Fran, I am using the coloring book page as my reference. That's the designs here. That's why I wanted to send you guys those samples, so it makes it a little bit easier to follow along doing these pieces. You're welcome to choose a different design if you don't want to do one of the Disney ones or like the Pokemon ones that I sent out earlier. So if that makes it a little bit easier for you, you can choose a different one. That's totally fine. Illustrator is free. It's free for like 1 week use. Like per email. It might be more than over a week now because of the like the coronavirus. So you can check with them. I know it is free for at least 1 week. It used to be like 30 days, so maybe it might be it now. Photoshop's the same way. There is a Chromebook version, I think, that might be free. But the other attachments I sent before have like other similar programs that aren't Photoshop but work very similar to those. So you can use any of those programs as well. They're in the Google Classroom. So let's give these an outline color. So we'll move this to the front. So this looks pretty good for the color. Like that looks like the sleeve. Next thing we'll try to do is make these all these lines here. So again, these are not full objects in Illustrator. So you just do the first and last point are not going to be touching. So just keep that in mind when you're making these. These are just lines. These help like create the dimension of your object, or make the details like the little, like this line here on the ear, the nose, all the parts that are the knuckles on the hand. They're all the same way. That's what we're trying to do here. So in between, you have to go black arrow, click away, back to the pen tool. So the Photoshop, Illustrator, or whatever program you're working in understands what you're trying to do. So let's try the ones that go across now. Again, if you have any other questions or concerns, you can write them in the chat so I can see them. Or if there's something you want me to specifically work on, please let me know. So that's the part where like the hand's going to go into the cuff. If you want, you can write in the chat like which projects you guys are working on, so I know. Also, don't forget it's due Thursday, so hopefully you got started. So again, these are all pen tools. Using the pen tool here for all these designs to like make the lines in his like shirt. So just trying to make them a little bit more realistic. Alright, that might be good. So I'm going to select those. So we know this is the striped color. It's not perfect, but it'll line up eventually. So now I'm going to try to go in here and clean this up. This one I know is going to be black because that's where the hand's coming in. Some of these other ones are bends, not bends in the shirt, not design, not the stripes to the shirt. So this one's going to be black. So I don't want them going on top of the black lines. I'm going to make them slightly smaller. So let's make this one thing. So Command G, we're going to group them together. Good to hear, Fran, working on Winnie the Pooh. So all those objects that I made, I group them together for the hand, and I'm move them forward so that they'll fit inside the t-shirt. So I group them together, Command G, and then bring them to the front. Now this individual piece, that to the front because I need that to look like it's in front of the hand. So we sort of have the hand now. It sort of feels like it's fitting inside there. The stripes sort of feel like they lie on there as well. So it's not too bad. So this top part, this yellow, let's make that have a gradient. And then we'll do one for the arms as well. So we're going to give it a gradient color. So we'll go light, middle, dark. And so we'll try and match the same thing as this hand here. So the darker side is going to be on the inside. So we're going to go left gradient here. I'm going to flip the design. Make the darker part less. Make most of it like that nice green, or the nice yellow color. So we're going to group all these red lines. So it makes it a little bit easier to bring them forward. So when we make the gradients, all we have to do is just hit bring forward, and the lines will be around top. So it's starting to get a bit of a gradient there. It's very subtle. We can make it more intense. 100 and there it gets a little bit better. Let's use darker color. I do think there's a pen tool like that in here, where this arm bends. in. So again, if you have questions, please feel free to write them in the chat so I can try to answer them while we're working on them. Besides that, this one out. I think this just needs to be a separate one. That sort of looks like the arm. So this is a bend. So I'll make that black. So sort of coming together. So I'll make this another one of these parallel lines, just to make it look uniform. So I'm going to add points here. I'm taking a little bit of liberty just to make this look like if it was bent there, it would start to go in a different direction. So there we go. So what I would do in this section, I would make this probably one color, like one gradient, maybe this one gradient, this one gradient. We could try it without that, let's see. See if we can match this color. Gradient. So we'll make the gradient again, try to figure out a better way. So we're going to sort of cut off the arm here. I'm going to lay this over top of the dimensions, the one we made already. Make it transparent, or semi-transparent, just so I know where to cut off the design. So eraser, go right around this. Close, but not what I need. Like that, that'll be one piece. So we'll move this back to 100%. Again, give it the gradient. Sort of like this, where like the cufflinks sort of design is making the shadow. I'll go with that one. One here. So we'll do this. So if we're looking at the picture, it's still on the inside. So let's make this part, the part that's closest to his body, the darkest, and it fades away. It does take some like looking back and forth to figure out what works the best for your design. This, then we just make that centerpiece maybe like light or transparent color. So if we move these off, and group the rest of these together. So then we bring this on. Go object, arrange. Front. We need to do bring the front a lot just to move around, manage your designs. So we're going to make this just an outline. So make these transparent here. Just so we can sort of looks like a nice blend there. These in the front. That one's already in the front. And then this one. So there you go. You got the arm, hand, hat, face, or the face is still in progress. Hand still could use a couple more. But now we're starting to get some shadows, some designs. If you really wanted on the shirt here, you can go into effects, effect gallery, make it a little bit like burlappy. Let's see how this looks. Sort of works. Up close it's not as helpful, but you can keep that in mind. Or make a copy of one and then flip it over with transparency, so you just get just this like subtle design, but it will give you these like imperfections around the edges, so keep that in mind when you're working on these. So I took it off, but what else we have? Alright, so let's work on, we'll do the body now. Okay. So we'll start with the neck, because we have the head, but no neck yet. And again, keep in mind, it's behind everything else, so it's going to be covered up, so it doesn't have to be perfect the first time, as long as the other pieces on top are good. So. Fran, I think if you're the last one on here, you're the only one watching, so if you have specific questions, let me know. So then next we'll work on, so we have the neck, we'll give it a color just so it stands out. Then we'll go with this bandana. Again, same thing with pen tool. So I can't see it, so I gotta make sure it's invisible. So this is where the next one is sit behind this. This is the part that I need to make sure this is like lines up perfectly. clean up the edges with the white arrow tool. Something like this. Again, this part of the bandana is behind the neck and behind the bandana, so it would be perfect at this bottom part, but here it does because it's covering up these other two. So these pieces, and the neck we'll work on now. So we'll make some colors here for the bandana. So it's like a light color and dark color here for inside. There might be a middle tone. Looks like maybe that one. So scarf light. Scarf middle. Scarf dark. The neck sort of has the same thing as the face, the same colors, so that should be pretty straightforward. Give the bandana one of those colors. Something here. So this one's on top of those first. Object arrange, bring the front, and then this is on top of both of those pieces, but not, so object arrange, bring the front, and this scarf part is on top of everything. Object arrange, bring the front. Actually, this next covering that piece. Then it's this. So go in here and clean this edge up. That so they line up, the hard lines line up together. So if this has a black outline, it should line up the same. This doesn't matter at this point now. That one's close. This one still needs to touch up. There we go. Diana, the Squidward assignment has not been posted yet for you guys. It's like you'll be comparing, contrasting videos based on like characters from Nickelodeon and viewed as art. So you will have that like probably be for over the weekend or next Tuesday. So don't worry about it yet. So we can go with the scarf here, and we can give it a gradient as well. Let's make it. Right, it should be on the side because everything else on that side of the body is dark. Like this side is dark, dark, dark. Same with this gradient. So light. So you're just going to use similar gradients, just because it's pretty straightforward. Yeah. There's a little bit of a larger spot there, so I'm going to so you can start to add some more details. These are like sort of, just going to make them myself. So these two here, these two lines, I'm going to make them fade out. So I'm going to go here, taper off. So like sort of like what a bandana would have like when they tie it off. No infill. They probably also have it at the bottom as well. So if this makes sense, you guys can add sort of like your own sort of details to make them look a little bit more natural. I would add one here just to make it look like the neck is like actually inside this bandana. So it sort of feels like it's sitting inside. Those just help like emphasize your point and make it look a little bit more like a graphic novel or a comic book. But since it is a vector, those are totally fine to use. So let's group these together. let's group all this material. So move this to the front, so when we bring the neck up, starting to come together. You probably make those even thinner lines. There we go. So it matches up. Yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to write them in the chat, and I can try to answer them. So next we'll work on designing the like the vest and the chest part of the shirt. So I'm going to draw right through the star, but not go over the vest because I know I have to still make the vest regardless. So I'm just going to go. So just to give you a heads up, there's about 45 minutes left or so for today. So if you do have any last minute questions, try to ask them sooner rather than later. If you can, you write in the chat if you think this is if you like this. If you thought it was as helpful as the one where I sent you just the video, that's fine too. Just let me know. Would you rather have something like this, or would you rather have the videos where you can just watch them anytime? Just leave that sort of information, so it just helps me better help you guys. All right. All right, thank you, Fran. Yeah, so uh, we might have one or two more um, like tutorial assignments like this, um, just to keep you guys active in using the program. Uh, so I'll keep that in mind, and I'll try to do something along these lines. Do you think this is easier doing it during your class time, or would you rather have it like on the weekend? Okay, I got you, Diana. So right now I made the two vest designs. I didn't make the little lasso part, but where like the cowhide is, I made those. Um, so I'll make them. Now I'm gonna make the part that would have like the exterior like design, whatever that might be. I forget. Um, so I'm just gonna outline those. So then I'll have the two pieces together, so I can uh, make one piece, make it a little bit easier. So it's something like this, a little bit easier. I had to go back and edit some stuff, but overall, this is sort of the design for the two vests. So I'm going to bring the two ones that have the cowhide to the front, even though I made them uh, like before. So I need to make sure that they're priority. So I'll make these like a grayish color. And then the inside will be a whitish color for the cowhide to start. Okay. I could probably do the class times. These sort of work a little bit easier. Um, but thank you for responding. It makes it a little bit easier to get an idea from you guys. So this there's a gap between the hand and the vest here. So I'm gonna try to looks like these maybe come over a little bit more. At least that's probably closer to what we're looking at. Yeah, and then just gonna use the pen tool here So I extended it a little bit longer. So I'm gonna make another one of these stripes here, just so it doesn't look strange. There you go. Now it's starting to feel like a whole person. So the cow spots, or the cowhide spot, sort of just whatever. So I'm gonna just make up a design for those, and then I'll do some of the stripes again. Make some of these buttons and the star, and then I'll probably finish that up for today. Um, Maybe we'll make a background piece while we're waiting, just in case anybody joins between 12 and 1. So how are the ones that you guys are working on now, Diana and Fran? You can write that in the chat so I can see. Since you are working while we're working here. So what are your technical difficulties? Or which program are you using too? Maybe that's part of the issue. Um, I wasn't planning on coming back on tomorrow. You feel free to email me. I can answer any of those. Um, but I can see just it's a little bit tougher because like it's technically not our class day. So, but if need be, I can work around that. I could try to do something for you guys and jump on. We could do like maybe like half hour sometime. I think school's technically over at what 2 tomorrow. Or friend, I know you have your. I don't know that'd be the free. Um, but I can do maybe like a 3 or something, just from like 3 to 3:30 if that works. Um, but I think the if you do the 7-day trial, I don't know if it won't bill you, but what you can do is just like cancel it as soon as it starts, or just wait till 6 days in and then cancel it on the before the 7th. Um, what other things you can do is there is other programs. It doesn't have to be Illustrator. Um, there's a couple ones I sent in the Google Classroom. Which will help you. One's really extensive. You can download it, and the other one is just like you do it through their web page. So the ones that you download are a little bit more intensive, like sort of like Illustrator would be or Photoshop, um, because they're not limited to like what they can do on just like connecting to the internet. So if that is a better option for you, those are all free. And you can download them and delete them as you wish. I think the Illustrator one I sent out at the beginning of April maybe, and the Photoshop one I sent at the very end of March. So if you're looking for them. So if I do one tomorrow, I'll post it on the Google Classroom as like an announcement, just so uh, you're aware, I'm aware, and then anybody else who wants to just jump in will. I'll try to do it like with as much time ahead of time as possible. So I'll probably post it either in the morning, if any last minute uh, questions you might have, or following along before it's due Thursday night. Um, So more than likely, I'll probably have something posted. If I can do it tomorrow, I'll have the announcement posted by like 10. All right. So hopefully that works for you. How about the other assignments that we've been working on for class? Any preferences on ones that you liked or you didn't like videos or um, like the looking at the museums? So it's sort of like that. His vest. But again, it's going to take some time to come back and work on the details to make it feel a bit more natural. there'll probably be a gradient from this side to here. And if you had time, like the vest is sitting on top of the shirt, so technically there'd be like a gradient that would be like down here, hanging over the shirt. That would be helpful. Make it look a little bit more realistic even. So these are going to be like the little detail parts to make it look like the collar like overhanging. So friend, did you turn in the interview assignment? The idea was to go outside, but I know it is tough times to do that. If you have like your PPE or PPD, like that'd be like the idea to go out and like sort of see like how your object interacts with the space. But as close as possible will be helpful. There's photo parts that you need to do. So the photos would probably be outside, but maybe like that's, even if you can't go around your block, maybe go like if you have a yard, or if you can't do that, maybe even just through your house if you can't go outside. Just so it feels like it has like an interaction with a different scenario or surrounding. So it's sort of coming together here. The design. hope that looks alright. So we'll do the stripes here. So I'm going to draw this line straight through the button here, just in case I need to move the button for some reason. I'm not sure. It's going okay. Trying something like this is interesting. Never did this before, so and yeah, hopefully this isn't. I want you guys to still use the programs and do stuff while also not going crazy with it, since I know art class is a very demo heavy class where you have to you see me work on it, or I'm physically there working with you while you guys do it. So I also want to keep that in mind. So I thought this was something interesting that you might be inclined to work on while also keeping you guys sort of active in the program. So I'm happy that that works for you. So I use the eyedropper tool to match the color. So it's this, but I want them to be the fade in and out ones like I have for the others. I'm going to group these together and move them. I might make them slightly thinner depending on how they line up, but not too bad. Some of these can be a little bit longer. So give them a little bit of design. Try not to have them hang over onto the other designs. Move them in a little bit. Did you guys watch the first video I posted? So not too bad. So let's make these circles that are these buttons. I'm just going to use the actual circle icon. If you hold shift, again, make perfect circle. Okay. Thanks, Fran. It helps to get an idea. So you can use the alignment tools up here if you have Illustrator or Photoshop. So make sure these line up perfectly. I'm just going to make a copy of this one as well. So it looks like it's silver and white. So we'll give them a little bit of an outline color so make them stand out. Copy paste. Need 2. Grouping those together so they don't move. Something like that. So for the background of this, you don't have to do a background. You just need to do the character, but I might do like this whole block and Mr. Potato Head. I'm not sure. So yeah, for yours you don't have to. The graphic design 2 students have to do the character and a background, so you don't have to worry about that. So no need to get stuck on that part. It could be like a solid color if you want. It could be the template that you use. Like, so if I just brought this picture of Woody over, so here's a copy. I'm going to group them together. So if I just, so you could essentially just do this and move your, put your character over top of the coloring page, which would be interesting because it's this like 3D object in a flat two-dimensional design with black and white drawing. That's a possibility. You could be a solid color behind it. It's up to you. Also, if you wanted to rewatch any of this video, if you got stuck or you're like, oh, how did he do that again? I will post this on the YouTube channel, so you can rewatch it again. I know it's long. This one's like about 3 hours, or it will be about 3 hours long. But if you want to watch part of it to figure out the part that you got stuck on, and then when we do it tomorrow, ask your questions, and I can do it as you're watching or listening. It might be a little bit easier for you. All right. So I got about 15 minutes left. So if any last minute questions, concerns, I'll answer those. Now let's work on the star here. So I'll do a gradient on the star here. So we'll go star, right, middle. So I'm going to give these a gradient just so they stand out. So the light star, middle star, dark star. I'm going to try to give this middle piece an effect, just so it looks like it's a little smudged or something. It's plastic. There's like a little bit of a glare on it. There doesn't have to be a gradient on everything, but things that like look 3D typically have a gradient. Nothing's like typically flat, unless it's like a logos tend to be flat. But we're trying to make a 3D object so it feels like it fits in space. So I try to give gradients to things that sort of fall in reality. So like when you look at a T-shirt, it's not like one solid color all the way through. It sort of depends where the light's hitting it, changes in color. So you can see that in the T-shirt here, like the part that's closest to his body has like a cast shadow. That's making this darker tone. Part though, like the cuff is overhanging the shirt, so that's darker. The hand, it's like in shadow too, so like his head would be casting a shadow onto his hand maybe, so that's darker. All those sort of things. Like this is like the divot in the hat might have a changing color. See you, Diana. So trying to look at those sort of things and then try to give them gradients. The hair has a gradient on it right now. It's like darker to lighter. It's very subtle. But some pieces might just be solid color. Not everything has to have a gradient. By like looking at this, probably the eyes might not. Maybe they would. Like you want it to sort of look like a piece of plastic, like something like this. So you're trying to take the coloring page and you're trying to make it look like the photo that you grabbed from the internet of your character. So essentially, when I make the Mr. Potato Head, I'm going to try to get as close as possible to looking like this. Hopefully that makes sense. That's just the way you try to want to make it look realistic. If it was just like a brown like oval, it wouldn't, like solid brown oval, it wouldn't look like a 3D object. It would just be very flat. So hopefully that makes sense, friend. Do you have any more questions? If not, I think we can wrap it up here. It's like 5 minutes left. see you. Have a good day.